Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode number 9 of our EAFC 26 career mode here with West Ham United. Happy Monday. I hope you all will have a good week ahead. Obviously we'll have a couple of more episodes coming out throughout this week, so hopefully this week gets off to a good start and we get off to a start in this episode with a home game in the Carabao Cup semi-final for a chance to get through to the final. Obviously, Carabao Cup semi-finals are across two legs, one at home and one away, and we do start at home at the London Stadium against Nottingham Forest, looking to get a good start to put us in position in the second leg away from home and hopefully see if we can get into a final and some possible silverware in our first season in charge at West Ham United. As always with the Carabao Cup games, few changes in there, few players which aren't part of the first team squad or in and around the first team squad in the league phase, and we've got Areola in goal. We've got Todibo still playing centre back, but a couple of changes in the back line. Wan-Bissaka still there, but Max Kilman playing as well, so we'll see how these players get on. But obviously they've done well up to this point in the Carabao Cup to get us through to this semi-final, and hopefully we can get a good result here. But it was Nottingham Forest who have early chances, a good chance there first of all, and then a good shot there from Elliot Anderson, but kept out by Areola in the West Ham goal. But unfortunately it didn't take long. Nottingham Forest did take the lead. Good touch from Hudson-Odoi, took it past Wan-Bissaka, cut inside onto his right foot, and a really good finish to be fair, and you have to give him credit there for Callum Hudson-Odoi to curl that one into the top corner past Areola and give Nottingham Forest a 1-0 lead away from home. But we got our first real chance of the game through Callum Wilson just 5 minutes before the half-time break. A decent chance but a good save from Matt Sells, and then a chance here from Jarrod Bowen, plays it into Fernandes, but unfortunately Fernandes couldn't quite get full contact on that shot and it did go wide of the post. We did go into half-time with that 1-0 deficit, and that soon turned into 2 with Morgan Gibbs-White getting Nottingham Forest's second goal of the game just 10 minutes into the second half and give them a 2-0 lead at this point. So it was going to be really difficult obviously to come back in this game. Obviously we do have a second leg to contend with as well, but we were giving it our best shot. Callum Wilson cuts inside past Milenkovic, good shot with his little left foot, and puts it in, pokes it in past the goalkeeper to bring the scores back to 2-1. About an hour into the game, his 4th goal in his 5th appearance in this competition, and we have cut the deficit in half and brought it back to 2-1. But Forest was still going to keep trying, a decent shot there, but fortunately saved by Areola in the West Ham goal. And then it was time for a couple of changes. Lukaku and Somerville coming on for Fernandes and Walker-Peters, with Bowen dropping back into that attacking midfield role where Fernandes was. Lukaku going up top alongside Callum Wilson. Hopefully that will pay dividends and get us back onto level terms. It was Lukaku who got the first chance. Good ball through by Wilson, but unfortunately a little bit of a heavy touch from Lukaku, put it a little bit too far forward, and it was saved by the goalkeeper. But it didn't take us long, and it's that man, the ever reliable Jarrod Bowen, gets through past the defenders and just chips one over the top of Matt Sells to give us that leveller in 2-2 and his 3rd goal in his 4th game of the season as well. So we've come back from 2-0 down, we've pulled it back 2-0 now. It's all about trying to get the lead going into the second leg of this game. But once again it was Forest who had a good chance, but once again tipped around the post by Alphonse Areola in our goal, and then from a resulting corner, ball falls to Ola Aina. Ola Aina gets past, obviously Lukaku made the challenge, didn't want to give away a penalty. Ola Aina got through, but it was Areola once again, kept the ball at back of the net to keep the scores at 2-2. And then about 15 minutes before the end, it's Lukaku who gets a chance on that left foot of his, smashes one past the goalkeeper, but unfortunately it rattles the post and the ball stays at back of the net and the scores do stay 2-2 once again. And then Chris Wood gets a good chance from ahead, a really good save that from Areola, definitely one for his highlight reel at the end of his career. Really good save from him to keep the scores at 2-2. Then Jarrod Bowen gets a chance on his left foot, and this time no mistake made, it does hit the post, but unfortunately this time it hits the inside of the post and goes into the back of the net with just 2 minutes left of the game to give us that 3-2 lead in this game and bring Jarrod Bowen to 4 goals in 4 appearances in the Carabao Cup and gives us the lead and what should be the lead going into the second leg of the semi-final. So really good to see that, but some bad news after that. Callum Wilson, obviously we know his contract's coming to an end and he has agreed a pre-contract agreement with Getafe over in Spain, so he will be joining them at the end of the season for a free transfer. Hence obviously the reason we spoke about this, hence the reason we brought Lukaku in, and then obviously long term we'll look at some other replacements we can bring in as well. But the games ever keep coming fast, and we do have a game against Tottenham Hotspur away from home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it was a chance for Lukaku once again to show us what he can do from the off in this game. And obviously if you remember back a couple of episodes ago towards the start of the season, Spurs, we drew 2-2 against them. We actually were 2-0 up against them, but then Xavi Simons came on and produced a masterclass to bring the scores back to 2-2. So we wanted to get revenge, and we gave it our best shot in this one. Jarrod Bowen with a really good shot there with his right foot, but unfortunately straight over the goalkeeper. And then just 20 minutes into the game, Luis Guilherme, who hasn't had many Premier League opportunities this season, he nicks the ball off Jed Spence. The ball eventually finds itself into the big man Romelu Lukaku, and he puts it in the back of the net. On his first appearance for us in the Premier League, he gets his first goal back in the Premier League, and the away fans in a pub in East London are absolutely buzzing with that one, absolutely buzzing with our new signing, getting a goal on his debut, or Premier League debut for us, should I say, to give us a 1-0 lead. But it didn't last too long, and Tottenham did manage to get a goal back, and it was that man, the ex-West Ham player Mohamed Kudus, who managed to get their goal to make the scores 1-1, and then they did take the lead fairly straight after. Wilson Odobert getting the ball, rifles one low past Hermansen to give Tottenham the lead for the first time in this game and make the scores 2-1 just before half-time. And just before the half-time whistle does go, Kolo Muani gets a good shot, a good save from Hermansen to tip it around the post and put the ball out for a corner kick. Maddison swings the ball in from that right hand side. Good header there from Palhinha, but fortunately just over the top of the crossbar, and the scores it did stay at 2-1 going into half time. But just 10 minutes into the second half, it's Kudus who gets another shot, and he gets his second goal of the game against his former club West Ham United to give Tottenham, shall I say, a 3-1 lead, which the squad and the quality that Tottenham have, we knew it was going to be a difficult one to come back from, but we were definitely going to give it our best shot, and we got a really good chance here from Jarrod Bowen, a good shot on the turn, but unfortunately saved by Vicario, and it did turn out the offside flag was up anyway, and we did make a change. Somerville coming off, and you could see he did not look happy at coming off there, so we'll have to obviously deal with that, and hopefully nothing comes off the back of that one in our messages in our inbox later on in this after this game, shall I say. But it was Fernandes who came on for Somerville, and Fernandes gets a goal straight away after coming on, and his first Premier League goal of the season. A good ball across and an easy tap in for Fernandes to bring the scores to 3-2, and then a good save there from Hermansen to once again keep the scores at 3-2. But Tottenham were going to keep pushing. Kolo Muani who plays it into Wilson Odobert. Todibo didn't know if to come or go. Odobert carried on going. He puts another one underneath Hermansen to get his second goal of the game. So he's got 2 goals this game. Kudus has got 2 goals this game. And Tottenham have 4 overall to be winning this game 4-2. But we gave it our best shot just in the last 10 minutes. Wan-Bissaka with a good ball across, and it's Lukaku once again. He gets the goal, his second of the game with that right foot of his, to just lift it over Vicario and get his second goal to bring the scores to 4-3 and make this a really tense end to this game. But unfortunately the scores did stay at 4-3, and we did unfortunately lose that game. And I think our big thing this season has been our defence. We've been conceding way too many goals, and whenever we look at the table you will be able to see the goals against column, and it's a really bad viewing, to be fair, for a West Ham fan. But we did lose that game 4-3, but obviously really good to see Lukaku getting 2 goals in his Premier League debut for us. Really good to score 3 goals ourselves, to be fair, against a team like Tottenham. So it's just that defence we need to sharpen up. But as mentioned, we did obviously get the Akoto, one of the youngsters. He had his position change. Callum Wilson came some wage demand, similar to what happened with Fabianski in a couple of episodes ago, if you remember, when obviously we'd already agreed a pre-sale for him, but they come to us asking for wages. And then we did get an offer from a Romanian FA to become their international manager, but as always we did reject them because we're not in a position to look at international management just yet. And we did get a offer from Olympique Lyon, should I say, from Luis Guilherme, just under £6 million, but obviously he's been playing really well for us, especially when he's had a chance in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. He's performed really well, so he wasn't a player that I wanted to get rid of unless we got really good money for him. And then we did get a message from Areola saying he wanted a chance to play in this game, and we did start him from the off at home against Sunderland. Obviously Areola, he was our starting goalkeeper at the start of the season. We've eventually replaced him with Hermansen, but Hermansen, as I say, the defence has been leaky. We've conceded a lot of goals this season, and obviously the goalkeeper, although not directly a reason for that, is obviously a part of the reason for it. So we decided to give Areola a chance. He wanted to play, he was confident in himself, so we did give him the opportunity in this game at against Sunderland at the London Stadium, and we did bring in Callum Wilson as well up front alongside Lukaku, with Bowen sitting in just behind, just to give us that little bit of firepower. And hopefully Callum Wilson, although we're going to be losing at the end of the season, hopefully he can do something for us. So hopefully it was going to be a good game for us, and the first chance really for us fell to Jarrod Bowen 20 minutes into the game. Decent header, but a good save from the Sunderland goalkeeper. And then from there wasn't wasn't too much in this game, to be fair. It wasn't the greatest game in the world, but there was a good chance there for the Sunderland attacker, but fortunately Areola stuck his leg out and managed to keep that one behind and out of danger for us. I mean, just before half time, Bowen gets a really good opportunity, but unfortunately just a little bit of a heavy touch, a little bit too close to Rovesen, the Sunderland goal, and the ball was kept out the back of the net. So a fairly non-eventful first half, to say the least. But in the second half, a good chance there from Adingra, a good header, to be fair, after it came through to him, but once again a good save from Areola. And then the ex-Arsenal man, Granit Xhaka, looks to play this corner, plays it short into Masuaku, the ex-West Ham player. Good header from a Sunderland player, but unfortunately for them couldn't put it in the back of the net, and luckily that did keep the ball out the back of the net. And then just 20 minutes before the end, it's Granit Xhaka gets a really good shot, but just whistles past of that post. We know what Granit Xhaka can do from range, so a good shot from him, but it just whistled past and kept out the back of the net. And then we did decide, once again after his goal against Tottenham, to bring Fernandes on for Wilson, moving Bowen up front and bringing Fernandes onto that attacking midfield. But unfortunately, pretty much straight away, it was Sunderland who actually took the lead. Diarra gets a goal and a good finish past Areola to, unfortunately, he couldn't keep his clean sheet, and the scores did go 1-0 to Sunderland. And then Diarra gets a chance for his second of the game, but this time kept out by Areola to keep the scores at 1-0, and that was going to be how the game ended once Masuaku eventually plays into Xhaka, plays it back out to Masuaku. He plays it into Diarra. Diarra plays it into Brobby. Brobby gets a good shot, but a good block by Wan-Bissaka, and then a challenge at the end by Somerville, which will bring the game to an end. So a 1-0 loss, non-eventful, and we've been waiting for this for a while, to be fair. Our job security has been downgraded to okay, which doesn't give us the greatest amount of confidence, to be fair. So we'll obviously monitor that, and we know results need to improve. But a good offer here from Manchester United, £24 million for Crysencio Somerville, but definitely a play we don't want to lose. We mentioned throughout this series about how we need pace down the wings, and Somerville is our fastest player, so we definitely don't want to lose him at this stage. Maybe in the summer when we've got a bit more time to bring someone in, but definitely not at this stage. But then we did think to ourselves that we need to bring a player in ourselves, and we wanted to bring a centre back in, and we didn't really have time to scout anyone, to be fair, so we scouted them a little bit, but we just sort of had to go off of our own knowledge. And we did look at Sondre Langas from Derby County, 24-year-old centre back, and like I say, we wanted someone physical in that back line and someone who had a bit of agility and pace in him, and Langas was definitely that man. He has around about 84 pace, I think, from memory as a centre back, and obviously playing three at the back, we need players to recover, we need players to move side to side, and they need that agility and that pace to be able to do that. And we did agree a deal with Derby County for just over £3 million. Langas wasn't naive, he's not going to be a starter all the time for us, so he is going to be a rotation player. Stick him on a 3-year deal, he's only 24, so that'll take him till obviously he's 27. He did initially want a release clause. I'm confident I can grow him into a really good player, so we didn't agree to a release clause at this stage of his contract. And then all it was at this stage was just around wages, and we did initially offer him £15,000 a week with a £250,000 signing on bonus to see if he would accept our offer of that. He wanted £25,000. He was happy with the £250,000 signing bonus, so we did offer him I think we went to £30,000 a week. Obviously he's going to be a Premier League player now. We were happy to make that kind of commitment to him, and we did finally agree a deal of £30,000 a week, £250,000 signing on bonus, and Sondre Langas is now a West Ham player, moving down from Derby County. And like I say, I'll show you in a minute after obviously we've seen all this bit around what his stats look like and how physical and agile he is, which I think is going to be a real benefit to this team. Looking at the price rating, it was actually an A. As I say, just over £3 million we got him in for. It was saying the best possible deal was 3.1. We got him for 3 million, so we'll definitely take that one. And like I said, 86 pace he's got there, 85 physical as well. Not the greatest defending, if we're being honest, only 69, but we can definitely work on that one. But look at that, 86 sprint speed, 87 acceleration, 91 jumping, 87 strength. So a real good defensive player. And like I said, especially in a back three, where you need the players to be able to be agile, you need to be physical, move around, track back, etc. I think he can be an absolute diamond for us. Only 72 rated at the minute, 6'3", and we knew that obviously number 6 at West Ham is a retired number due to Bobby Moore, so he did change his kit number to number 22, and he will slot straight into the team. Although I mentioned he won't be a starter, I wanted to try him straight away, so he's going to slot straight into this back three alongside Debo and Wan-Bissaka, 3 fast players to be playing in centre back, to be fair. But it was always going to be a tough game to come into, and it is against Chelsea, and we, away from home, we knew it was going to be a really difficult game. And like I say, Langas for his debut in a back three against players like Esteval, against players like João Pedro, Cole Palmer, Neto, Garnacho. We knew it was going to be a really difficult game for him to come into, but you might as well throw these players in the deep end, see what they're all about. And to be fair to him, you probably won't see much more highlights of him, but to be fair to him, he performed really well in this game. And although it was going to be a difficult game, and like I say, you'll see from highlights what this game turns out to be, but I will say from the start, Langas did play really well, and I was really pleased with his performance. So, but it was Chelsea who got the brighter start as probably expected. João Pedro over a decent chance there just 5 minutes in, but fortunately wide of the post. Then Lukaku got a chance against his former club 5 minutes later, but fortunately for Chelsea, Jorgensen was there and managed to keep that ball out back of the net. Not a lot happened for the next 10 minutes, but the ball did eventually fall to Palmer 20 minutes into the game, and a good finish past Hermansen, who was back in goal for this game, and Palmer gives Chelsea the 1-0 lead to bring the lead to Chelsea and obviously make our lives even more difficult. But Paqueta gets a really good chance here from range, good shot, tries to get into that bottom corner, but it's Jorgensen there once again to keep the ball out the back of the net. And then about 30 minutes into the game, it was Langas who gets the header out there. Ball falls to Caicedo, falls to Palmer eventually, but just wide of a post from a little tip of Hermansen to keep the ball out back of the net. But it didn't last too long. Palmer gets his second goal of the game, a good shot with that left foot, arrows into that bottom corner to give Chelsea the 2-0 lead just a couple of minutes before half time. And like I say, we knew this second half was going to be one, especially being 2-0 down, where we were going to be trying to climb an absolute mountain. But we will give it our best shot, and the first chance of the second half did come to Romelu Lukaku. A little bit of a heavy touch on his chest, couldn't quite bring the ball down past Badiashile, and unfortunately was pounced on by Jorgensen in the Chelsea goal. But it's Lukaku once again, plays a really good ball in, to be fair, behind into Jarrod Bowen. Jarrod Bowen tries to give a little chip over goalkeeper, saved by him, but unfortunately the offside flag was up anyway. And then it's Lukaku once again, gets in onto that left foot, gets the shot away with his right foot, but Jorgensen's there once again to keep the ball out back of the net and keep the scores at 2-0 to Chelsea. But that little wave was really all we had at this point, and unfortunately for us, Chelsea did take a 3-0 lead, probably against a run of play in the second half, but definitely deserving in the game as an entirety. And it is that man, Cole Palmer, who gets his hat-trick in this game, celebrates with a Chelsea mascot, and he gets his hat-trick, third goal of the game for him, third goal of the game for Chelsea, and a really good day at the office for Cole Palmer. And then unfortunately our day was going to get a little bit worse. Cole Palmer with the shot, Hermansen made a save, but unfortunately Ben White dived into that and unfortunately did give away the penalty. And you'll see from here, you'll see from the replay, he went in to block the shot, but unfortunately just mistimed it. Brings down Cole Palmer, and to be fair, absolutely no arguments can be had about that one. It was definitely a penalty, and unfortunately with Ben White, it was himself that gave it away, and it was going to be Cole Palmer who would take this one as expected, looking for his fourth goal of the game from a penalty spot. He steps up. Fortunately for us, well, I mean, it's 3-0, so it doesn't really matter, to be fair, but in terms of goal difference, puts it wide and the ball stays out back of the net. But it didn't take him too long, and Cole Palmer did manage to get his fourth goal of the game and put the scores up to 4-0 to Chelsea. Obviously he's absolutely buzzing, 16th goal of the season for him, fourth one in this game, and a 4-0 lead for Chelsea at this point. And that is how the game ended. Jarrod Bowen couldn't do anything with that final chance, and the game did unfortunately end 4-0. So once again, similar to what I said about the Tottenham game, our defence is the one where it's really lacking. Obviously, we brought Langas in to try and help us out a little bit, but we really need to sort out the defence. And the attack was fine. Obviously, it's not going to help if we do lose players like seeing background Jarrod Bowen. We did reject this offer from Real Madrid, just on a realistic term. He's never going to go to Real Madrid, let's be honest. But it was one of those where we needed to sharpen up the defence, whether it's a formation change or whether it's a player change. That's definitely where we're lacking, and one of those options was to potentially get rid of some players we weren't playing too often. And we did get a decent offer from Newcastle for Max Kilman on deadline day for 12.5 million. We did want to get a bit more, obviously in today's day and age, 78 rated, we felt we'd get more for him. We went a little bit high, if I'm being honest, at 20 mil, and Newcastle just straight away shut the door. So maybe a little bit ballsy from me to try and get 20 mil for him, but unfortunately it wasn't going to go anywhere. And we did get an offer from Celta Vigo for Areola as well. We did reject that one. We have only got the one goalkeeper if we do get rid of Areola, so we wanted to keep our two goalkeepers for now, and maybe we'll reassess that one in the summer and see what happens. But just looking at the top transfers from this January transfer window now that deadline day has passed, and then we did after that get a message from Matheus Fernandes saying he needs more games, obviously because playing isn't good for his career. Still a young player, decent player as well, and obviously we will look to give him the opportunities that he wants. And obviously he's proven when he's come on off the bench that he is a decent player. He's scored the odd goal here or there. He's performed well, to be fair, so we'll definitely give him opportunities he wants. And then the final act of this episode is the position change to Ben White. Obviously we bought him in the summer No, in January, sorry, we bought him recently, and we did automatically want to convert him to a defence midfielder, which is where he's playing, and that did get completed. And then we did also look at this stage to move Wan-Bissaka to a centre-back position, obviously based on the fact we're playing our three at the back formation, move him to centre-back and see what happens there. It's going to take a while, but we'll see. And then the final act was Asenio Sadio, the left midfielder, 64 rated from Senegal, getting promoted to the first team from Youth Academy, and he will get his opportunity to make his debut in the next episode. So make sure you watch that to see how the young 17-year-old left midfielder from Senegal does perform for us. But that is going to bring this episode to an end. Not a brilliant episode in terms of results in the league, but a brilliant comeback result in the Carabao Cup semi-final. We've got the second leg of that Carabao Cup semi-final in the first match of the next episode, so make sure you do stick around and watch that one on Wednesday. But as always, thank you for your time to watch this one. Make sure you comment below any suggestions, subscribe to the channel to follow the journey, like the video if you have liked it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one.